Because of Dustin's actions, the entire hall had exploded into chaos. Some timid guests, afraid of getting caught in the crossfire, had already slipped out early, fearing they'd become collateral damage. Meanwhile, the critically injured Edward Spanner was promptly carried out by his bodyguards and rushed to the hospital. "This is bad," Dahlia muttered, her brow furrowed and face grim. Trevor Spanner was infamous for his cruelty and ruthlessness. With his son beaten like this, there was no way he'd let the matter go quietly. Dustin was likely a dead man walking. "Lyra," Dahlia suddenly said, "go make some calls, see if there's any way we can calm this situation down." "But President Dahlia, Dustin's the one who started the fight. What does that have to do with us? Why should we get involved in his mess?" Lyra asked, puzzled. "He just saved my life. You think I'm the kind of person who lets my savior die?" Dahlia's face turned cold. "I didn't mean it like that," Lyra quickly replied. "It's just, this really isn't a good time to offend Trevor Spanner. Nobody wants to step into this mess. Regardless, we still have to try," Dahlia said firmly. "Well, all right." Lyra gave in helplessly and immediately began making calls. But as soon as those business contacts learned what happened, they all hung up in terror. No one dared get involved in Trevor Spanner's business. "President, as you can see, it's not that they don't want to help. They just can't," Lyra said with a shrug. "Try again," Dahlia insisted, still frowning. "It won't work." Just as Lyra was about to say more, she suddenly caught sight of Chris Nolan nearby. "Wait. Maybe Mr. Nolan can help." "Me?" Chris pointed to himself, surprised. "Yes. Didn't you say your father has a relationship with Trevor Spanner? If he steps in, maybe we can de-escalate this," Lyra said, eyes full of hope. "Well," Chris's lips twitched. His father did know Trevor, but only through business. For small favors, Trevor might give him some face. But this? Edward Spanner had been beaten into a coma. Trevor would never let that slide. "If you help us this time, I'll owe you big time," Dahlia said seriously. Looking into her expectant eyes, Chris hesitated. It was the perfect chance to win her over. He couldn't just walk away. "I'll try, but no promises. You know how dangerous Trevor is." After a long pause, Chris finally nodded. "I understand. If you can just help keep Dustin alive, I'll be forever grateful," Dahlia said, clearly relieved. "I'll do my best," Chris replied, careful not to overcommit. If it worked, great. If not, well, at least Dahlia would owe him a favor. Meanwhile, in a private lounge of Phoenix Tower, Natasha Harmon sat calmly, watching the surveillance feed, a slow, meaningful smile curving her lips. She had seen the entire incident, from Edward Spanner getting kicked to the ground, to Dustin standing tall. If she hadn't been in public, she might have applauded. She had always been sick of the Spanner families buzzing around like flies. But for certain reasons, she couldn't strike directly. Thankfully, Dustin hadn't disappointed. Everything he'd done tonight pleased her immensely. "Miss Natasha, Dustin is all alone. He won't be able to stand against Trevor's wrath. Should we lend him a hand?" one of her stewards asked cautiously. "No rush," Natasha said, eyes narrowed as she stared at Dustin's tall figure on the screen. "Just have someone keep an eye on him. I'm not so sure Trevor can actually beat him." "Oh? You have that much faith in him?" the steward asked in surprise. "It's not so much faith, more like curiosity. I think he might surprise me." Her smile deepened. "Miss Natasha, you're not actually interested in him, are you? You already have a fiancé, Natasha shot him a cold glance, and the steward immediately fell silent. "Remember, my affairs are none of your concern. Just do your job." "Yes, ma'am," he muttered, not daring to speak another word. At midnight, in the regional hospital, as the emergency room doors opened, Edward Spanner, his lower half wrapped in thick bandages, was wheeled out on a stretcher. Immediately, a group of people surrounded him. At the front stood a burly man with a thick beard and a terrifying presence, Trevor Spanner, the underground king of East Side. "Doctor! How's my son?" Trevor barked. "We managed to save his life," the doctor said with a heavy sigh. "But the damage below the waist was too severe. I'm afraid he'll never be able to function like a normal man again." "What?" Trevor's expression changed drastically. "Never function again? Was he supposed to live the rest of his life as a eunuch? What the hell do I pay you for? You can't even treat a minor injury? Trevor grabbed the doctor by the collar. Sir, we truly did our best. The patient was too far gone. He's lucky to even be alive, the doctor said helplessly. He had never seen someone beaten so badly. The man's lower body was practically mush. If they'd arrived even a bit later, he'd be dead. Useless trash! Get out of my sight! Trevor shoved the doctor away, his face dark as thunder. If even the best doctors in the city couldn't help, then Edward was really ruined. Speak! What the hell happened? Trevor spun toward his bodyguards with a murderous glare. My son was fine. Why is he in this state now? Boss Trevor, here's what happened. One of the bodyguards stepped forward nervously and gave a brief rundown of the events. After hearing it, Trevor flew into a rage and slapped the guard hard across the face. Useless fools! There were over 10 of you, and you couldn't handle one guy. What do I pay you for? Still fuming, he smacked a few more of them in turn. The guards kept their heads down, not daring to say a word. Well? What the hell are you waiting for? Gather every man we have and find that little bastard. I don't care who he is. If he dares hurt my son, I'll tear him into 1,000 pieces. At Trevor's command, all his forces began mobilizing. A terrifying storm was quietly brewing.
And just can't accept it. This can't be the end yet. You promised to never leave, and now you're gone. Can't believe I can feel the world slipping away as you slowly fade from my everyday. You promised forever a love without end, but now I'm left broken, struggling to mend. I thought we were so tied, destined for a lifetime, love with no end, love with no end. Staying in my imagination, memorizing the past time, the secrets, the love, the care. Now they're echoes in the air. I still see your face in every place, feel your warmth, your gentle grace. But now there's just an empty space, and I'm lost in this endless chase. Keeping you in my heart, a piece of you I'll never let go. Though distance brings separation, in my heart you'll always glow. I just can't say goodbye, no matter how hard I try. A bond like ours, so deep and true, will always be if you stay or no. I thought we were so tied, destined for a lifetime, love with no